Story 1. AITA for giving my wife the ultimatum, her best friend or our marriage. I am 27 and my wife is 29. We dated for 3 years and got married this year's February. My wife wanted to wait a bit more but I convinced her because I wanted to get married as soon as possible and I think our age is perfect to get married and have kids. I thought that we both love each other so there's no point in waiting. After convincing her we got married, we love each other and even plan to have children next year. We first decided to enjoy our new year, go for vacation and then try for a child. That was our plan and we both were happy, but just a few days ago I got a random text on my Instagram. When I asked them who they were, they didn't tell me, and now I am still wondering who could it be and trying to find out. They just said that my GF has dated one of her close friends before me and gave me his name and sent me tons of photos as proof. I didn't know anything about this. Now I know all of her friends and she knows mine. I never had any problem with any of them, even her male friends, but I told her early on when we started dating that I don't want to be with a woman who is friends with her exes, and she agreed to me and kept it hidden for so many years. I confronted her and showed her the photos and asked her, "Are these real?" She said it is and she started crying. I told her that she has lied to me for so long about something so important and I am angry. But wife said she kept it hidden from me because she feared I would leave her. I told her that she shouldn't lie. If we both don't agree on something important for us, then we should part ways and find another partner. That's what mature adults do. She said she doesn't want to lose me and wanted to be with me and didn't want to lose any of her friends. She said she broke up with him 10 years ago and asked me if I don't trust her. I said you shouldn't talk about trust when you were the one who lied to me this whole time. I said I am willing to trust you and give you another chance as long as you cut this guy completely out of her life, otherwise I will leave her. She said I shouldn't talk about leaving, and if she cuts him off she will lose her long-term friend and going out with her friends will get messy. I said I don't care, you either choose him or me. I don't have any problem with any of her friends, just him. I stopped talking to her and no matter how many times she tried to talk to me I ignore her cause it's always an explanation about how he's a friend and there's nothing wrong with being friends with your exes, etc. But 2 days ago she told me she's willing to cut him off. I said that's the right way to go. I understand that she's sad, but you should also understand that I am angry. We made up but she's still somewhat sad and isn't the way she was before we had this first huge fight. So AITA for telling her to cut him off. I think I made the right decision, but I don't want to see her sad and frankly don't want to leave her. It was just a bluff. Update. For those who don't want to go through my previous post. TLDR, my wife hid the fact that she dated one of her close friends and hid it from me all these years. I only found out about this when I got a random text on Instagram last week with proof that they dated, and my wife and her friends knew about it but kept it all hidden. When I confronted my wife and asked her, she came clean and told me the truth, and I asked her either she chooses me or him. My wife reluctantly agreed later. I am posting again today because I have been in contact with this mysterious person and also talked to my wife and about our future and clear everything up. So I texted whoever they are once again and asked them if they call tell me who they are. They replied they don't want to for privacy reasons. I said they must be pretty close to my wife since they knew too much about her, like who she dated a decade ago. I asked them why did they tell me now, why didn't they tell me before when we were dating. They said they didn't want to break my relationship but decided to tell me the truth after they realized that I am a good guy and doesn't deserve being lied to and what's happening behind my back. I asked them if my wife has ever cheated on me with him or anyone else. They said they don't know, but my wife and her ex have always been close even when we were dating, and after marriage they are still very close but never kissed or behaved suspiciously. Either they aren't having an affair or hiding it from everyone else including their close friends. I thanked them and I decided to talk to my wife and told her that lying about something so major in marriage isn't a good thing. Even if there's nothing between you and your ex, how would I know for sure? Anyone would get suspicious when a bomb is dropped on you. My wife said she's sorry for hiding it from me cause she feared I will break up with her. I said it's not that I trust you, but if you lie about major boundaries, how would I be able to trust you again when I trusted you blindly my whole life? She said she's willing to cut her friend off cause I come first and will do her best to earn my trust and always be transparent. I said I love her, which is why I am trying so hard, and I asked her if she's willing to go counseling with me. My wife agreed and we aren't fighting or distant anymore, but it's kinda awkward and a bit of distance between us, but I guess that's kinda normal between couples after a huge fight. Story 2. Wife confessed to affair 2 years ago before marriage while in LDR. My wife and I have been married for almost 2 years. We got engaged in April last year and married in June. Before that, we met online and we were friends for a year, then became romantically involved for 6 years, 9 years total, 7 years long distance, 0.5 years official, 1.5 years married. Since we come from conservative families, we didn't define our relationship as boyfriend/girlfriend until we had enough money/COVID travel restrictions waived to visit each other finally 2 years ago, PH and US. Well, After I proposed, my wife let me know that a guy had been trying to court her, met online, like me, and visited her in person, but that she turned him down at the airport. Like a chump, I thought nothing more of it. After all, she had confessed it to me and nothing happened, right? Fast forward to June of this year, married a year, she sits me down and confesses that she kissed this guy that one time when he visited. Or rather that he kissed her and that's it, and she really regretted it. It really hurt my heart, but I forgave her. It was only a kiss, right? A day ago she confessed again. It was actually a week-long vacation with this guy. They went to restaurants, had an Airbnb, kissed, made out, and did all the bedroom things except sex, and that she even cried during the bedroom stuff. She called herself stupid and that she couldn't believe she could act like that. She said she deleted his contact info and blocked him everywhere after telling him it was over before we got engaged. They did non-sex sexual stuff, 2 or 3 times, during that 1-week trip. They made out several times between texting me that she loved and missed me. They did emotional stuff, too. A lot of talking, cutesy dates, the works. She told me she had lied about the trip at the time. She said she was doing a retreat with friends and wanted to unplug from electronics, no phone/video calls, only text, which she admitted was a lie. I had to pry the details out of her to find out they did bedroom things. I honestly don't believe her that was it. What do you think I should do? She seemed sincere, and every time she was the one who brought it up, likely because both her parents died this year and she started to reevaluate why she did it or why she was keeping secrets. I never caught her red-handed. Also, we were LDR, and didn't meet in person until 3 months after the affair. I considered it a relationship, but I know she rationalized that it wasn't. Do you think I can trust her again? Should I trust her? I know the first step is a postnup with an adultery clause, but I don't know if I should stop being a chump totally or try it out for one more go. Story 3, wife cheated in rehab and wants to work it out. Preface, I rewrote this to include all the details. This is a true story. Please read all of it and provide me with some sound advice. My wife, 41, and I, 43, have been together for over 20 years. We have 2 kids under the age of 10. About 3 years ago, we started arguing about her drinking too much. Then, I called her out for using cocaine while drinking. She promised to stop doing coke but said she liked having a drink or 2 before bed and asked me to respect that. I smoke weed at night after work to relax, so I conceded. We continued to argue occasionally about her drinking, which eventually led to a huge fight when I asked her to stop hanging out with her drug-using friend. My wife countered by accusing me of having an affair with my female best friend. I never had a physical affair with my best friend, but I admit I got too close to her when my wife's drinking and drug use escalated. You could say I had an emotional affair, but I quickly made sense of what I was feeling and didn't let it develop further. After the fight, I went to stay at my mom's for a few days, which made my wife angry. She wouldn't let me come home for about 2 months. We eventually started going to marriage counseling, and it felt like things were improving. She was still drinking, but it seemed to be limited to the evening, and our communication had gotten much better. A few months into counseling, she went on a trip to visit a friend. When she came back, she was acting suspiciously. I eventually caught her sexting with some guys she met on the trip. She swore nothing physical happened and claimed she just liked the attention and was flirting. I didn't believe her and asked her to leave. She went on a 3-day cocaine and alcohol bender before admitting she had a problem. She checked into rehab the next day. About a month into rehab, I found out she was being advised to move to a sober living home instead of coming home. I was blindsided by this but agreed. She ended up at a place called 405 Recovery in Orange County, where there's apparently a sober sorority house and sober fraternity house, and everyone hooks up. I suspected she was cheating on me. She started pulling away from me and the kids for 2 months, which led to more fighting. She blamed me for hurting her recovery by pushing her to spend more time with us. Eventually, I found out my wife was having an affair with a 26-year-old guy. I caught her with him just days after a sober living program ended. She relapsed and went back to rehab. For the next few weeks, we had no contact, and I filed for divorce. She didn't contest it. My wife is now living in another sober living home and says she wants to start over and work things out. I do, too, but I can't trust her. I told her I want to learn to trust her again, but a week ago, I discovered she had still been in contact with the 26-year-old because she cares too much about his sobriety. I figured this out by checking her phone records. She admitted it but claimed she only wants to be with me. She said she was taking his calls because she didn't want him to harm himself. He eventually started stalking her, and she now swears they've cut off contact, as of a week ago. I don't know what to do. I love her and want to keep our family together, but I don't trust her. Over the past 2 weeks, she has been putting more effort into communicating with the family. She FaceTimes the kids every night and sends me texts saying she loves me and is working on herself. I've seen her on Sundays when I drop off and pick up the kids for a 2-hour visitation window. Our conversations have been cordial but are starting to lean toward working things out. I kissed her the last time I saw her, and it was bittersweet. On one hand, I feel like I've been the one pushing for reconciliation. If I hadn't, she seemed almost indifferent. Now that I'm showing interest, she's trying to show love. On the other hand, I still love her, and I have my own skeletons in the closet that my wife doesn't know about. It's not like I expected her to grovel, but I guess I hoped she would fight for the marriage the way I would. But she's an addict. My oldest had a breakdown recently and reminded me that I taught him we never give up on family, even if they give up on us. My youngest physically pushes us together during pickups and drop-offs. Both kids have been in therapy for a couple of months and have said they don't want us to divorce because they don't want to spend time away from me. I don't know what to do. I'm in a bad mental state, and therapy hasn't been helping. I'm so lost. Story 4, AITA for breaking up with my girlfriend because of a caught cheating prank. I, male, 26, broke up with my girlfriend, 25, of 2 years because of something that happened recently, and now my friends are saying I massively overreacted. So, a few days ago, my girlfriend and a close mutual friend decided to play a prank on me. The prank was that they filmed a scenario where I caught them in bed together, pretending they were hooking up. They set up a hidden camera in the bedroom, and when I walked in, I saw him in just boxers and my girlfriend in a bra and panties, straddling him, acting like they were mid-hookup. To make it more realistic, they even made some noises and tried to act like it was happening for real. I was shocked, furious, and immediately confronted them as I thought it was real at first, like an actual betrayal, and then I walked out of the room and started leaving the house, when they followed me screaming it was just a prank and then showed me the video they'd been recording. To be honest, I felt completely betrayed not just by the idea of the prank, but also because of how they had gotten undressed to film it. I know it's meant to be funny to some people, but for me, it felt disrespectful, and I was hurt. The whole thing felt like a violation of trust, even though I know they weren't actually cheating. I told her I couldn't be in a relationship with someone who would do something like that, and I ended things right there. She's devastated, and our friends have been telling me I overreacted. They think it was just a harmless prank and I should have taken it better. But I can't shake the feeling that it crossed a line for me, especially with how intimate and uncomfortable it felt to see them in that situation, even if it wasn't real. Now I'm left wondering if I made the right decision. I'm starting to doubt myself because everyone else seems to think I blew it out of proportion. Edit. I did not expect this many responses. Thank you guys. She posted here earlier and sent me a link to her post. I know she wants me to watch the video to prove it was all set up and planned, but I feel she still doesn't get that I am upset about her disregard and disrespect for me and our relationship. Anyways, I am going to sign off for the night. Update. My ex-GF was really upset with all the hate she received online and blamed me for painting her in a bad light. I told her I did no such thing, she just didn't like that she got called out on her behavior. The mutual friend who was part of the prank is now also pissed off at me and saying I went way overboard. I told them both to fuck off and have blocked their numbers. Our friends have since started taking this more seriously after reading some of the comments on here, with a few taking my side and saying what my GF and the friend did was horrible. Others still think this was all unnecessary and I should just have laughed it off and moved on. Update. Girlfriend's post. My boyfriend posted here a few hours ago and shared the link with me to show me what people thought about what I did and that he is not overreacting. I thought I'd come on here and give my version of events for a more nuanced take. I planned the cheating prank with our close mutual friend several days ago. We were hanging out and scrolling through TikTok videos and came across prank shorts between couples. We went down the rabbit hole and ended up watching YouTube videos of cheating pranks, and I mentioned it would be funny to try a cheating prank on my boyfriend to find out what his reaction would be. He said he would do one with me and I agreed because it was someone my BF liked and trusted, so I thought it would be harmless. It started out as a hypothetical plan, but over the course of the conversation and while hashing out details, it turned into a real plan, and we agreed to the day we would do it, when my BF would be out and come back home to find us together. We set up the camera and filmed ourselves talking about the prank and set it up on top of the dresser in the bedroom and got into position. We were laughing throughout, and it is all on video. To make it believable, I told him to take off his shirt. He said I should probably do the same, so we did. Then he thought it would be even more believable and provide that shock factor if we also took off our pants. In hindsight, this was a terrible idea, but I agreed to it. You know how the rest of the story went from his post. But what he didn't mention is that he refused to watch the video I recorded showing that it was a planned prank, that we only took off our clothes and got into sex position when we knew he was home. I understand that this prank was extra and hurtful to him, and for that I am sorry. But I am not cheating on him, and I did not mean to disrespect our relationship. I think him breaking up with me is a massive overreaction because other than this incident, which I now massively regret, our relationship was great. We shared 2 wonderful years together and moved in together over the summer. I plan on deleting the video and won't be sharing it on social media, but I will share it with him first for proof of my intentions. Story 5. My friend's boyfriend is weirdly invested in my life. The boyfriend of my friend, female, 18, is weirdly invested in my life. I, female, 19, would like to start off by saying that I am in my own relationship, and although the title sounds weird, I just can't tell if I'm going crazy or not, since everyone in my life has acted as if the situation is completely normal. A couple months ago, before I was in a relationship, I was on a dating app and would mainly use it unseriously with my friends. Mainly because I would never find anything substantial in them. I ended up matching with this guy, 19M, let's call him Dave, who only used Instagram to talk to people, and therefore I ended up giving him my IG. I specifically remember talking to my friend, 18, let's call her Leah, about Dave. My IG is full of pictures of me and my friends. I ended up ghosting Dave due to some personal issues I was going through and some mannerisms I caught onto that I didn't like. He was low-key aggressive, and I continued to post on my IG. Months later, my friend Leah comes up to me and tells me about this guy she matched with on a dating show. Surprise, surprise, it's Dave. Leah starts saying that she understands why it wouldn't work out with me and Dave because we have nothing in common, and that she's really excited for her date with Dave. I was also excited for her at first. She went on her first date with him, things were going very well. On the second date, Dave tells Leah that he wants to meet her friends. He was so pushy about meeting her friends that he said he would plan the whole thing. I told Leah that I definitely did not have to meet Dave until they're more settled into the relationship and that I wouldn't take offense to not being invited. Leah told me that she wanted me to go and that all she felt she needed to do was tell Dave that I would be at this meeting the friends date. On Leah's third date with Dave, she asks him who his celebrity crush is, and Dave responds with a popular actress of my ethnicity and then continues to express how women of my ethnicity are his type. Leah has a very different ethnicity to me and Dave was well aware of this. She finally musters up the courage to tell him that she is friends with me, and when she does he tells her, "Oh, I know, do you know why she ghosted me?" He then proceeded to tell her that he would bring a friend and turn this next date into a double date for us. I go on a double date, surprise surprise, his friend doesn't show up because he's too afraid of women. Then we go through the date with Dave and Leah heavily making out everywhere we went, to the point where I just continued to get secondhand embarrassment. I then realized that my ex-boyfriend worked at one of the stores nearby, and since I was on good terms with him I decided to stop by and say hi to him. Again, this is before me and my current boyfriend got into a relationship. Leah and Dave show up and Dave asked my ex if he wanted to join us, and so he did. It was a pretty awkward setup since Leah and Dave continued to heavily make out at the restaurant we went to, but thankfully I was able to get through it without dying of boredom. A couple weeks go by and this is when I start dating my boyfriend. We made it official before Leah and Dave did, and when he finally asked Leah to be his girlfriend he sort of did it through text. Leah then tells me that they had gone on a date in the same mall we had gone on our double date and that Dave had gone back into the store my ex worked at to see if he could find him. Leah tried to play it off as a really cute thing because apparently Dave doesn't have a lot of friends since he just transferred to this college, and she believes he's just trying to make friends his own age. I don't find it as endearing since my ex was very visibly uncomfortable with Dave throughout the dinner and barely talked to him. A couple months later my boyfriend and I start to have issues. I confided in Leah, and she wasn't really helpful since all she talked about was how Dave would never do that to her. She also brought up the fact that she had a coworker who was looking for a girlfriend and that she showed him my IG and he seemed interested. Leah then started talking about how her coworker is actually one of Dave's new friends and how they're getting along well. Leah then puts Dave on the phone and he proceeds to tell me that I should break up with my boyfriend. Dave has never met my boyfriend. Dave also said that I should get myself a man of his ethnicity. Leah then admits to me that Dave has been continuously asking her for updates on how my relationship with my boyfriend is going and if we have broken up yet. A couple days later I get a follow request from Leah's coworker and I asked her if she had told him to follow me. She says Dave was the one who told him to follow me and said that Leah's coworker would treat me better. Dave just met Leah's coworker, he doesn't even know him that well. A couple hours later, Dave requested to follow me on his alternate account. I don't know what else to do or say. Leah, my boyfriend, nor my friends seem to be at all upset about this behavior, or at least not at the level I'm upset. My friends have said that it is very odd and seem to think he's weirdly involved with my life as my friend's boyfriend. Is this not weird? Am I wrong for being upset? TLDR, my friend's boyfriend, Dave, seems oddly fixated on my life, and it's making me uncomfortable. I ghosted him after we matched on a dating app, but now that he's dating my friend Leah, he keeps inserting himself into my relationships, commenting on my love life, encouraging Leah's coworker to pursue me, and even following me on social media with an alternate account. While I find his behavior intrusive and unsettling, Leah, my boyfriend, and my other friends don't seem to think it's a big deal, leaving me questioning if I'm overreacting. Update. Thank you so much for all the support you gave me on my original post. I just wanted to update you all on the developments since then. My boyfriend and I made up and I updated him on the situation with Leah, Dave, and Leah's coworker. At first my boyfriend seemed unfazed, but the more time passed, the more it seemed to bother him. Leah came over the night I uploaded the original post and the first thing she said was, "So what happened with your boyfriend? Everyone is dying to know," and by everyone I mean Dave and my coworker, with a huge smile on her face. I pointed out the fact that it was odd that they wanted to know so badly. Leah simply brushed it off and said that her coworker actually wanted to apologize to me. Leah said that supposedly Dave had made it sound like my relationship was done for, which is why her coworker requested me. As for Dave, he just continues to ask Leah if I've broken up with him yet. Leah continued to express her disappointment with some comments Dave has started to make about her size. She specifically talked about how she had wanted to get some dessert but he had refused to get anything and then asked Leah, "Do you get desserts with your friends every time you go out with them?" And then Leah alluded to him fat-shaming her friends, specifically me and one of her other friends. A day or so later, Leah calls me and tells me that Dave has once again asked her if I've broken up with my boyfriend yet. We continue talking and she says that unfortunately she doesn't think that we can go on the trip she's been wanting to go on with all four of us. Although I had already decided I wouldn't go anywhere if Dave were present, curiosity got the better of me and I asked what changed her mind. She said, "If Dave was in the same room as your boyfriend, I think he would, physically, fight him." She was being dead serious. My boyfriend and I got into a pretty run-in-the-mill argument. He didn't cheat or lie or steal or hit, it was a simple disagreement. Therefore I don't think getting physical with my boyfriend is at all warranted. Especially considering the fact that this rage is coming from my friend's boyfriend who I originally turned down and barely know. The day after this phone call, my boyfriend brought Dave up and asked if he had done anything else. I informed him and he seemed genuinely concerned for Leah. He said that I should genuinely consider intervening as things have seemingly gotten worse. I made efforts to intervene when this relationship between Dave and Leah was fresh, however, Leah simply accused me of jealousy. If I had been single at the time, I would have bit my tongue and taken the harsh accusation. However, by the time she made the accusation, I was in a relationship with my current boyfriend. Therefore, the accusation truly upset me, specifically because it was an insult to my boyfriend and our relationship. After reading so many of your comments, which I greatly appreciate, I think I have decided to make some space between me and Leah. Am I wrong for this? Should I try harder to intervene? TLDR, thank you for all the support on my original post. My boyfriend and I made up, but the situation with Leah and her boyfriend, Dave, has gotten worse. Leah told me that she can't see us going on that trip anymore because she thinks Dave will try to fight my boyfriend if they end up in the same room, which feels completely unwarranted. I've tried to intervene in their relationship before, but Leah dismissed it as jealousy, so now I'm considering creating some distance. Am I wrong for stepping back instead of trying harder to help her? Story 6, all for some twat. He is homeless now. So July 7th I caught my boyfriend of 4 years cheating on me. With a friend of mine. It was only sexting. For the first 3 days he lied and said she was crazy until she sent me proof that he sent her a nude. She told him to leave my fat ugly ass. She said I deserved it. I kicked him out, and he went to my other friend's house. I thought it was strange, but she told me she was just trying to help and I believed her. Each of the 3 nights he was there he came home to sleep next to me. She got upset and I still was bewildered by her behavior. At this point you may say it was obvious he was fucking her right. Here is why it wasn't. The woman was 62, and she was in no fucking way attractive. Sunspots, riddled with wrinkles, messy, sloppy drunk all the time. So to me I was lucky he might fuck other people but that a Halloween decoration. On October 26th he was trying to ask me what to do to get me back. I asked to see his text to show he had blocked the first person I found out about. The old woman had sent a message conveniently the moment I opened his messages that said, I should just tell her we have been fucking since March, have fun with that fat fucking pig, you can't even fill her ass up. I couldn't believe it. I still cannot fucking comprehend why anyone, let alone someone who was raising my kid with me, would ever fuck that thing. I screamed so loud someone called the police to do a wellness check. My ex, he just left. The next day he revealed that he had also fucked a previous roommate who, by the way, blocked me because I expressed I was upset she was leaving a week after signing a lease to go live with her husband who cheated on her, making them homeless because he literally lost his job in Japan as one of the consequences of his actions. She then fabricated a story of me being an animal abuser. She used my anger issue, which we had several conversations about my triggers prior to this, against me to get what I guess she thought was proof of the animal abuse she made up. It wasn't. My property manager said it was not, and so did the police that she called after she couldn't get me removed from my rental agreement due to the made-up abuse. I had to stay in a hotel for 2 nights to wait for her to leave because she made me feel so unsafe. I was at my mom's waiting for the check-in time to roll around and my ex was packing and doing laundry. He wasn't, they were fucking. Now get this shit, both of these women sued me because I tried to confront them about what they had done. Did I say nasty stuff? Sure. But that was it. There was no physical violence or retaliation other than in electronic form. The old lady is not the brightest bulb, so she filed all of her paperwork wrong and it was settled. But the roommate's family has money and she for some reason moved into my home with me, my child, and his stepdad, and immediately started talking to him about fucking her, and then sat around and waited to sue me for being in the same pain she was in only a year prior. He also had an emotional affair with another neighbor, making her believe he was being abused. Oh, and I paid the old woman an entire month's rent for him before I found out. She didn't need it. She took my money when she knew what she was doing. He got kicked out because instead of just continuing his relationship with her, he tried to court the neighbor he was having an emotional affair with, and it backfired because I told her about everything and she said, oopsie, no thanks. I am over here broken to pieces, and yet I still show up every day and pay for everything now that he is homeless. I do everything I can to give him the best chance possible to get off his knees and back on his feet, and he still mentally abuses me. At this point I know he will not change and he does not love me, but I can't stop showing up and I am tired of my fucking self. Story 7, is this cheating? Am I being overdramatic? I, female, 19, have been with my BF for 4.5 years. He's the best, he's sweet, caring, and absolutely funny. We are both long distance, but things are going super well. The issue I'm having though is his co-workers. Since we are long distance, he works at this large retail store, very popular all around, and about 2 to 3 years ago, he tells me about the first coworker. There's 3, and her name is Angie. Apparently he came up to her first and didn't tell me they were talking for about 3 weeks. I was of course upset because I wouldn't judge him for having friends, you know. But he started getting touchy with her, like long hugs, inviting her to hang out one-on-one, and even going over to her house for a birthday where he gets drunk and then sleeps in the same bed as her. Without telling me, and no, they didn't sleep together. He tells me he had a connection with her and he misses the physical aspect of the relationship. But after lots of crying and back and forth, he breaks it off. I found it hard to trust him, but he insisted that everything was fine, and then here's the 2ND coworker Hannah. Hannah apparently is a single mom who's much older than him. He said she came on him first and it starts the same way it did with Sandy. They talk, hang out, and then they start talking and flirting in his car. But then he tells me weeks later, because he feels guilty, he even meets her kid and buys him stuff too. Of course, I don't feel comfortable with this. He says it's fine, but I know something's not right. I stupidly asked to see his messages but he didn't want to show me. He accidentally brings them up on FaceTime while screen sharing me something and I noticed she was flirting with him. Again we argue and he says he's stupid. Then I ask him one question: if everyone was looking at her behind, would you? I asked him this because he said his coworkers were doing it. He said yes and then backtracked when I got angry with him. My trust broke but we continued on because he insisted things were done. He stopped talking to her and eventually things were left at that. I never heard about her again and about a year and a half later she moves in with some other guy and stops working there. For some context to my BF, he thinks it's weird that girls come onto him all the time. His words not mine, and he thinks that helping girls is his thing. He says that he doesn't know why they're desperate and he can be very arrogant at times. Now on to the main problem. About 2 days ago he mentioned this girl named Rosie. Apparently, she's cool, and they've been talking. I told him the cycle is only going to repeat. Especially since he met this girl in an online game about 2 weeks ago and he's been helping her through a breakup too. I thought it was okay until he told me that he sent her a pic of him and she said he's looked good. If it helps, he lied about his age and being a virgin, so yeah. Now I need advice. Should I leave him? Am I being overdramatic? I don't know what to do. It hurts because he's my first relationship and I'm scared. Is this considered cheating? I have no clue. Story 8. Think I already know but looking for some insight. Long story short. I met a guy on Tinder. Seems like a great guy. We talked for a while before ever meeting. He never once talked to me about sex or sent a dick pic, total bonus, in my book. He actually worked with my cousin in a town that's 45 minutes away, and to my surprise they're like best friends. Figured if my cousin liked him he had to be good people. Invited him over and the rest is history. We are both divorcees. I left my ex a year ago, he left me for another woman, whereas they were supposedly separated and finalized on Halloween. To be cautious, I told him I didn't want a title of any sort but we made it clear we would not talk or see anyone else as we navigated through whatever we were trying to figure out. Fast forward, a month into meeting each other and hitting it off, my father passed away. He was there every day. The day my dad died in the hospital, to the days after, the viewing, and funeral. He lives 45 minutes away and works for UPS, so he'd come down, stay, and then leave and do it all over again. He was by my side through it all. We often switch it up when we saw each other. Him coming to my town and then is the next or a couple weeks in between. He's always welcomed me to his home and let me treat it as if it was my own. Needless to say, he's treated me amazing since we've met. He'd come down on a whim or even on his busy days at work he'd come down and surprise me. Fast forward to this week. I went to spend a couple days in his town and while he was working I was getting ready as usual when I found several things. One being my straightener I bought for his house specifically was hidden at the top of his cabinet where it wasn't visible. The second one was the brush he bought for me to use at his house. Had blonde hair in it when I have black hair. Lastly, he has condoms he puts in his travel bag. One day I saw them and they were gold and the next time he came they were purplish. I was going to leave right away when we had originally made plans to go out to eat. We talked and he said the straightener was put away because his ex still has stuff at their house, which I get and she has access to, and she was getting her Christmas stuff and he said he didn't want her thinking it was hers and taking it. The brush he said he had used to comb hair out of another brush which was supposedly her hair, and the condoms he said for me to look into his bed frame where he had the two condoms, the gold and purple ones in. Yes, I'm sure everyone's thinking the same thing but I can't imagine it all when there are signs of me everywhere within his house. There's 2 toothbrushes there, I even have vagina washed in his shower, and my golf bag in his garage, etc. But then again when I told him I was coming it was on a whim and he could have said it all out before I got there. He often leaves town to visit his son who lives an hour or so away and I'm not judgmental or jealous, so as long as he text every once in a while I was cool with it, but fuck, this one hurts because he was the first guy I'd been with since being separated. He treated me great. And when confronted he didn't have an outburst, he kindly said what he said and was a little stoic because he gets triggered if someone accuses him of cheating because his ex did all the time. He said he was mad for even making me question his loyalty and that he was mad at himself more than anything. Mad, I'm sure, that he got caught. But then he rushed working during peak season to come surprise me even for a day, which was before I came down. He calls my mom, Mom. His attitude hasn't changed and he doesn't act guilty, ick. He tells me shit like he wants to have my baby in the future. How he's afraid to lose me, how he says he loves me, etc. Is this even justifiable or am I just stupid? Story 9, boyfriend of 1 year kissed someone else. This is a little complicated. Since my boyfriend, 25, and I, female, 24, have been together, I have never even thought he would cheat. He has his flaws, but I know he is a good person. I've been so close with his family and friends since I met him, and let him live with me and my friends, who are his own friends too now, for 3 months. We have had issues, but nothing major. I adore all his friends, except for one. She has always been inappropriate to him, even when I'm not there. I mean hands all over him even when I'm standing next to him, turning her back on me to go up close to talk to him. Since I've said it to him, he has noticed it and would be careful around her. This has been commented on independently by all my friends who have met her and his other friends in the group. I've always trusted him and we've laughed about her desperation together. He would never have even been that close to her, but she has been obsessed with him for a long time now, and has met me and knows I'm his girlfriend. My boyfriend was out with his friends on the 21st. They had been drinking all day and he was blackout. This is never an excuse. When they came back to their friend's house afterwards, his other friend told him what he had done. He had seen them kissing for about 3 to 4 seconds. I've rang this friend and he's confirmed every detail, and then didn't speak again. My boyfriend has no memory of even seeing her, and has met someone else that was out that night that commented how out of it he was. She wasn't supposed to be out with them that night, she left a different bar and came to where they were. I truly believe she targeted him, knowing he was incapacitated and could get what she wanted. We've talked a lot in the 2 days since he's told me. He has not left my side until I had to leave for my family Christmas. He is heartbroken and devastated and can't even remember it happening, so is finding it incredibly hard to process. I'm in shock. I've told 4 of my closest friends who are all completely taken aback as none of them ever thought he would do this. He adores me and would do anything for me. I've given him a month to see if we can work through some of this and will either end it or give it another chance after that. He is trying so hard and I know he will do anything to make this okay. I'm so conflicted because as a woman, I've experienced someone taking advantage of you when you were drunk. The only reason I didn't immediately end it was because I have no doubt she instigated this. My heart breaks for my beautiful boy who is struggling to deal with so much right now. What should I do? Story 10, my girlfriend got tested for STDs a year into our relationship and came back negative. She suggested I get one too, however I thought I would be clear about that since she was negative. A month later, I showed symptoms and tested positive for an STD. How to start that conversation? TLDR, I, male, 24, got into a relationship right after breaking up with my previous girlfriend, female, 23. A year later my new girlfriend, female, 24, got tested for an STD and came back negative and even suggested that I get tested. A month later, showed symptoms and tested positive for chlamydia. My girlfriend tested negative again when she took a second test. I took the antibiotics so I'm clean as of my second test. Now I'm just in denial of how I got it because I didn't cheat and medical professionals are saying that she would have gotten it if I've had it since I was with my ex. For context, I was in a long-term relationship of 3 years that ended last year due to a lot of reason. However, the main reason was that my ex Hannah, not real name, was emotionally cheating in the sense of having another guy on the side where she sent pictures to him and talked about having sex with each other. I don't know if she had sex with him while we were dating, but I know they did hooked up during a brief moment when we were broken up 2 years prior. So this last time we broke up, I didn't get an STD. Following that breakup, I hopped straight into another relationship not long after with Kyra, not real name. The relationship seemed promising until we fast forward a year to this past summer. She went to the doctor for a checkup and decided to do an STD test. She then kept suggesting that I get one done too. And we had been having unprotected sex for months at this point. At this point I still didn't get one done because she tested negative for everything on it, and I thought that with those being highly transmitted diseases, I'd be clear since she was clear. I wasn't experiencing any symptoms at that time. I know someone can be asymptomatic. I noticed a change in feeling for that whole month as far as being a little upset about some things and never being willing to talk about it. I eventually left it alone and didn't think about it again. The following month, I started showing symptoms and tested positive for chlamydia. At this point I'm a little confused because I didn't cheat, so I'm trying to figure out where it came from. I told Kyra about this and she didn't seem fazed by it whatsoever. I did take a second test after I took the antibiotics and I tested negative. The running theory is that I had contracted it from my ex last year and just had it all this time. I know it sounds stupid, but I admittedly don't know much about health in general, and now I'm learning. Following that conversation, she didn't want to take another STD test for a few weeks after that. She kept pushing back the date that she was going to take it, saying that she forgot and doesn't feel like it. When she did take her second test, it came back negative. At this point I'm just all kinds of confused because it had to have came from somewhere. I saw a screenshot of her first test, and she told me about her second test. She then started questioning me and ended that conversation saying, "I'm choosing to believe you." The few times we talked about it after that, she would say that she immune to it. I want to say that saying, "I choosing to believe you," was the start of me looking into STDs since I don't know much about them. It seemed a little weird that I would randomly start showing symptoms a year later if I got it from my ex. So, I called 10 different medical professionals, doctors and nurses, about the likelihood of this, and they all said that it's very unlikely for me to have chlamydia for an entire year and not give it to her. Keep in mind that I didn't see those professionals in person, it was just a phone call. Luckily they were nice enough to answer my questions for me. Some did try to have me finish the conversation in person, but I don't have that type of money, lol. It's been a couple of months since that happened, and everyone that I talked to about this says the same as well. I waited this long because I needed to find answers and be sure of the information I was given. I also have a therapist who is also agreeing with the professionals and helps me through other situations that this relationship has brought me through. At this point, I'm just numb from all the relationship pain that I've dealt. I'm not sure if I'd be making the right decision by breaking up with her. A part of me wants to believe her, but the facts don't seem to be lying. I love her, but I think I've reached my breaking point. I'm at the point where I've lost my smile around her. My friends say that I should broken things off a while ago, but I had to be sure of all the information that I've learned. I'll be talking to her about it all very soon. Story 11. I really need someone's opinion and advice about me finding out my girlfriend of 13 years has been having an affair the past 6 months. I just need someone else's opinion. I've been with my wife for 13 years, and literally, we have struggled very, very much so in the sex department from the beginning. She always said something was wrong with her and made me believe that, and I truly felt bad. Since I love her, I understood, and of course, I didn't want her to feel bad, so I never gave her grief about it. For 13 years, we have had problems in that area, and she always tells me, over and over, that I am such an amazing person, that I'm an amazing man. She says sorry for her not being able to have sex, like her inability to do so has to do with something being wrong with her, but she doesn't know what. Yet, she says she loves me, and she'll do better. Over and over, she promises to have sex more and be more adventurous, and yet still, we always do good for about a week or 2, maybe 3, and then it goes back to not having sex for 2 to 3 months. With that length of time, it's gruesome. It's hard. It's very, very demeaning and very degrading, may I say. I have a very high sex drive, she's known that from the beginning of our relationship. I've made that upfront and clear, and for some reason, it just ain't there. Well, I've always believed, and she's always said, that it's something to do with her. She's got a problem, she doesn't know what it is. We're going to have to figure it out. She thinks it's a medical issue, so I've always felt bad, and I never, ever made her feel bad about that. But we've had a rocky 6 or 7 months, and I found out that she has been sending photos and videos, explicit sexual videos of herself fingering herself and doing all kinds of stuff that I've always wanted her to do but she never would. I've always told her I want her to do that more. I've always encouraged her to, and I've tried to get her to. I've always tried to get her to send pics and videos, and she has never done that for me. I've done everything I can, and she knows that. She tells me that, she'll tell anyone that I have done everything I can. But I have found out that she has literally sent, in the past 6 months, well over 400 different videos and pictures, of her fucking herself, of her just doing all kinds of things that I've always wanted her to do for me. I wished she would and always begged her to do. And I find out now that she's not only been sending the videos and pictures to this man, but she has actually fucked him 1 time and sucked his dick 1 time. And I'm truly, really fucked up right now with that, and I can't get it out of my head. I love her, and I don't want to leave her, but I can't get out of my mind all of the things that I've seen and all the texts I read. She never talked to him on the phone, the only time they talked was through text, or literally when they saw each other twice. It was always through text. She's been exactly what I've always wanted, everything I ever wanted, to this man, and I need someone's advice or someone's opinion. Can we get through this? because even now, she's saying she's going to do better and try more, and she doesn't. I gave her a chance, and it's just not working. I don't know, it's like she can't please me. What should I do? Please, someone help. Story 12. My girlfriend cheated on me 25 years ago and it still haunts me to the day. I was in a relationship 25 years ago, which I consider my first love. We were going out for about 3 years and were a serious item. To cut a long story short, she started a new job, which she loved, and that was brilliant, and I was really supportive of that. But after a few months of working there, the time we spent together was getting less and less, and I thought it was due to her commitment to work. I was in college, so I put it down to them circumstances, and it would get better in time. But as time went on and weeks passed, we saw each other as much as possible, but something wasn't right, and she kept talking about this guy in work, how funny he was, how strong and handsome, how witty and charming he was. So, jokingly, I asked her if she fancied him, and she slipped up with, "I consider him more than just a friend." I was shocked and asked her what exactly she meant by that, but she covered it over with him being like a brother to her. I was suspicious after that. Anyway, we went to a music festival together with a big group of friends, and the one night I went to watch a band that she wasn't keen on, so she stayed back at the campsite with her friend. Then I wasn't too keen on the sound of the band, so I went back to the tent, and on my way back, I bumped into her friend. So, I asked her where she was, and she said she thought she was with me. She is a genuinely lovely girl that didn't have a clue what was going on. Then, when I got back to the tent, my trusted, loving girlfriend just so happened to be naked with this other guy in the same sleeping bag. I won't go into exact details of what was going on here, as him. I went absolutely mental. Rage, anger, pain, shame are not even words to describe how I was feeling. I was so distraught and heartbroken that I got into the tent and started beating up the guy. He didn't fight back and kept apologizing, but I saw red. I stormed off, and she gathered up her clothes and chased after me. I can remember she wasn't wearing any clothes other than a phone. I walked far away, with her walking behind me trying to justify what she was doing. So, we sat down on the grass, far away from any other people. I was so upset and angry, and she sat with me and opened up about this guy, and the other bloke she had slept with since she started work at her new job. She apologized and said after she slept with the first guy, it was like a snowball effect, and she couldn't stop herself. We had a great sex life, but she said it wasn't enough, and she loved attention off other guys, and she loved having sex with other people. I didn't have an inclining of any of this and had no idea she was going to become a promiscuous person. I was utterly gobsmacked. We talked all night, sat there on the grass, her in her underwear, which instantly became unsexy to me, and she unraveled her truths, which was a big kick in the balls, but at least she was being honest and not any longer down the line. We went back home separately, broke up, and went our own ways in life. I got with other people, as she did, but the brazen, heartless, brutal drive she had to hook up with other men was a shake-up for me. Out of all the partners I've had since then, that one still stays with me, not just because it was heartbreaking, but because it made me realize that some people are not what you perceive them to be, and that partners can hide loads of truths. When that trust is gone, it's gone forever. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give a like, share it with someone, and subscribe for more stories that inspire, provoke, and connect us. Thank you.